Yesterday, reports came out that the Boston Celtics are trying to trade for Kevin Durant, and the initial offer to the Nets was turned down by the Nets. And now that report came from the Nets side, and that is a great sign for the Brooklyn Nets actually pursuing Kevin Durant, right? Because up until yesterday, there were no real traction either way that the Nets were going to trade KD, and all signs looked like Kevin Durant was going to stay and have to stick it out for at least another year with the Brooklyn Nets, even though he requested a trade. And of course, Kevin Durant is the first domino will be likely many dominoes from free agency signings to Donovan Mitchell to Kyrie Irving potentially going to the Lakers, all of that stuff, right? If Kevin Durant is traded, Kevin Durant has the NBA on just frozen mode right now. And if that happens, then we should see a lot of pieces start falling into place. And the Boston Celtics do make a lot of sense. But the problem is now, Boston might not have a choice but to trade for Kevin Durant, because now that they've put the offer out there and the Nets have declined, it causes rifts with the organization of the Boston Celtics. I mean, you're talking about a team that was just in the NBA Finals, and the one guy that they have in the trade package in Jaylen Brown is the only guy that really showed up to the finals and performed and delivered for you. And so the package originally was Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and a first-round pick. Obviously, that was turned down. You know, the Nets will come back with another package. They want Marcus Smart. And I think at some point they'll likely meet in the middle, right? It'll be like Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, maybe like J.D. Davis and like 2 first-round picks, something like that. Get a nice young talent. You get a nice, all-star level player that can be, the face of your franchise. You get a solid guy in Marcus Smart who, can run point, can run shooting guard, can play some defense, all of that stuff. The Nets would still have guys like, T.J. Warren, Patty Mills, Seth Curry, Joe Harris. You still have Nick Claxton, Ben Simmons, right? So you could have Ben Simmons, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Nick Claxton, and like Seth Curry as your starting 5. Like, that is a really good starting 5. I don't think you're a contender, but I think you're at least, a playoff team, which the Nets need to be. The Nets don't own any of their picks. Maybe you can secure some of your picks back from Boston, and you can kind of work that out in the deal and kind of recoup some of your picks, as well as maybe another pick or 2 from Boston. And now you're in a position to where it's like, okay, well, now we're set for now and the future. And that's a really good trade in a deal for Kevin Durant. Like, what trade is better than that? What trade is better than Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, say the new rookie, JD, and then, 3 first-round picks, something like that. Like, what deal are you going to get better than that? You're getting a young, all-star caliber player who just performed and was the only guy to show up in the NBA Finals. You get a pit bull in Marcus Smart who's still young enough to be a quality rotation guy for years to come. You get a nice young rookie, and you get several first-round draft picks. Like, you're not going to get a better deal than that for the Kevin Durant trade. Like, you're just not. Like, what team can even give you a better deal than that and would be willing to give you a better deal than that? So if you're the Nets, that's something like, if the Nets are serious about trading Kevin Durant, this is a trade that would do that. This is a trade that would allow you to trade KD and still be a quality team. Trade Kyrie to the Lakers, probably recoup some more first, maybe some other assets. You could even try to leverage it to where you get Miles Turner too in the deal, right? Say, hey, we don't want any more first. We got a team that we believe can really be quality. Go take your first. Go get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, and then we'll trade you Kyrie Irving for Miles Turner and maybe like a second or something like that. Or maybe, you throw in a THT or something. And then the Lakers get back Kyrie Irving and, whatever, Joe Harris or something. Something like that in the deal to make everything work. Boom. Everyone's happy. And now the Nets end up having Ben Simmons, Miles Turner, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and then say like Seth Curry. That is a really good starting 5. Like, that is a solid starting 5. Everyone is still young. Everyone can grow and develop together. And you could be a team that is in the conversations in a couple years. That is best case scenario for the Brooklyn Nets. And for Boston, you're at this point where you might not have a choice but now to trade for Kevin Durant. Because, look, it would suck to lose Marcus Smart. It would suck to lose Jaylen Brown. Many Celtics fans, I imagine, look at it as Marcus Smart. You don't get rid of Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown. Like, look, I don't understand the trade very much either, but Jaylen Brown is not Kevin Durant. He likely never will be Kevin Durant. And if you have the opportunity to go and get a guy of Kevin Durant's stature and just what he can do on the basketball court, that would be huge. Now, personally, You can't do it because the Nets have Ben Simmons. But if I was the Celtics and I had to trade for Kevin Durant, I would have done Jason Tatum over Jaylen Brown, just because I think the problem with trading Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown is now you don't have that player voice in the locker room, right? Ime Udoka, he has relationships with Kevin Durant. He is a powerful voice in that locker room, but you need that player. You need that player that can connect to their brother in the locker room and say, and get in their face, get in their grill, get in their chest, tell them what they need to hear in a way that a coach can't. And Jason Tatum is not that guy, and neither is Kevin Durant. So now your two best players aren't guys that can be vocal leaders in the locker room, and you're losing your two guys that are vocal leaders in the locker room. So who do you got left? Al Horford? Yeah, but it's not the same thing as Marcus Smart. It's not the same thing as Jaylen Brown. And as much as I think the Celtics are on the right path, they got quality pieces in Gallo. They got quality pieces in Malcolm Brogdon. You got those pieces to really help and drive. Not just that, but you got the experience and just the trial and error throughout this playoff run into the finals. I think that that's going to be tremendous for this Celtics team. But they also got Brogdon and Gallo and stuff to be able to make a trade like this, right? You got kind of their replacements, and you're upgrading to Kevin Durant. Brogdon's going to offer you and give you a lot of the same stuff Marcus Smart will. The big concern is health. Same thing with Kevin Durant. Jalen Brunson, he's been a model of success and a model of health for the Celtics for quite some time. And now you're getting a guy who, is playing 60 games a season, but you really only care if he's healthy for the playoffs, right? You just need him for the playoffs. If everyone's healthy, you probably win. If they had Kevin Durant in that playoff series, you probably win. And I know a lot of people feel, look, these two averaged 50 plus a game. You don't need more scoring. But it's not about the scoring. It's about the consistency. If you watch the playoff run, Jaylen Brown was the only one that was really able to deliver in the fourth quarter. And even then, he's limited because he's not as natural of a scorer as Kevin Durant is. So the idea is if Jaylen Brown could go and get you 20 a quarter in the fourth quarter, Kevin Durant should be able to get you 30 in that, and you probably win some of those games. If they had Kevin Durant, a couple of those games, like Boston, if they had Kevin Durant, probably was up 3-1 against the Warriors. Just because you would have had a bigger impact player, a guy that's more naturally able to score, a guy that's bigger, that can do a little more, and it puts you in a better position. I just think that if you're Boston at this point, you have to make this trade as much as it might pain you now, because I think you just burnt the bridge with Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's not happy. We saw the tweet, the shaking my head tweet, and there was a report that came out that said that Jaylen Brown would still stay with the Celtics, even if he's not traded, but he doesn't really have a choice right now. But he is a free agent in 2024, and he could say, hey, I'm not signing an extension. You wanted to trade me, and I don't really blame Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, if I'm Jaylen Brown, I'm looking at it as, dude, I was the only guy to show up night in and night out. Your little loving superstar, Jason Tatum, who personally, I love Jason Tatum, but he's not a guy, he was completely absent. He didn't even show up. If he would have given me 6 points in the fourth quarter, we might have won this series. But no, he didn't even show up. He completely disappeared in the finals, and it was me that was carrying the load. I was doing everything. I was guarding the best player. I was putting up the 25 plus a game. And what, you want to trade me now? I completely understand how Jaylen Brown probably feels right now. And the thing is, it's Kevin Durant. I get it. But it's just I feel like Boston, they're young enough, they're skilled enough, and they're in the conversation. I still don't think that they're the best team in the East. And I do believe that they were Chris Middleton away from being eliminated in that series and not making it to the NBA Finals. But, again, that's part of the game. Injuries, stuff like that. You catch a couple breaks, and all of a sudden you're in the finals again, and maybe this time you win one. And not just that, they're young enough to where they could probably ride out a lot of these teams. Like Miami, they're only getting older. They're a team that is always willing to go all in and stuff like that, but who knows what they're going to be in a couple years. Milwaukee could end up aging themselves out with, Drew Holiday and Middleton, and, we'll see how Giannis continues to grow and progress, stuff like that. You could be in a position to where you are the best team, 3-4 years from now, and now you're winning multiple championships. Where Kevin Durant, you have 4 years to win a championship, and if you don't win, that is a disaster for everybody. That is a disaster for the Celtics. That is a disaster from the Celtics fan standpoint, and that's a disaster for Kevin Durant, no matter how you shake it. That would be a total mess, especially if Jaylen Brown becomes that guy with the Nets, right? Because now he's not going to be the 1A, 1B type player. He's going to be the undoubted number one guy on the Brooklyn Nets. So we're going to get to see how good Jaylen Brown really is if he goes to the Nets. And I just think at this point you burnt the bridge with Jaylen Brown and you don't really have many other options. Now you're in a position where you're kind of stuck. And it's like you kind of need to get this deal done because who knows what that's going to do to your locker room? Who knows what that's going to do to your chemistry? All of that stuff, because now these guys know they're all expendable. The only reason Jason Tatum could be even looking like, the only reason I wasn't in the trade offer was because, that they can't trade me because of Ben Simmons. Otherwise, I might be in the trade offer as well. It becomes a big potential issue for a team that you were on the right track with. You had chemistry. You had, that growth experience. You added some really nice pieces that I think really added and solidified some more depth. Now you're going to end up trading a lot of that depth to go and get a guy in Kevin Durant and break up that chemistry, break up that camaraderie. Kevin Durant, luckily, is a guy that can fit on any team in any system, is a guy that he just wants to come in and play basketball, right? He doesn't really care about the ins and outs. He just wants to come in, show up, do his job. So that in some ways is beneficial because I don't think Kevin Durant's going to come in and it destroys the locker room or something like that, But it is something that I think could have a lasting effect, and you need to make sure that you win. Boston must be pretty confident, which based on reports from yesterday, Boston believes that they are a Kevin Durant away from winning the NBA Finals. And if that's true, if they really believe that Kevin Durant is the missing piece and Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum can put you over the top, then I think they got to make the trade now. And I do understand the logic and hope where Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum are a lot more similar skill set wise. Like Jason Tatum is a much natural scorer and he's just incredible. I wish you could take Jaylen Brown's mentality and put it in Jason Tatum. He might be the best player in the league. Seriously, he is so skilled and so talented. He's still very young. And I think the idea is like maybe Kevin Durant will rub off on Jason Tatum. Maybe Kevin Durant can kind of unlock that next level in Jason Tatum to make him more of a natural scorer, help him not completely disappear in games, which to Jaylen Brown or to Jason Tatum's credit, he has gotten better at being more effective in other ways like assists, rebounds, defense, stuff like that. But you need his scoring. Jaylen Brown cannot be the only one scoring. And same thing, if you end up upgrading Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant can't be the only scorer on your team because Jason Tatum just completely vanishes. So hopefully Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, they can kind of work together and Jason Tatum can kind of evolve more into a natural scorer and continue to progress. And now you don't get those absences that you get throughout the playoffs. And it wasn't just the finals. I mean, we saw it on several games throughout the playoffs where Jason Tatum just disappears and Jaylen Brown was the guy carrying the load, doing everything he could. Jason Tatum is absolutely brilliant. And I think him and Kevin Durant definitely are in the conversation for a contending team. I think that they are arguably the favorites in the NBA to win the finals, right? I mean, even the Kevin Durant, when he played, he was a toe on the line from eliminating the Bucks that won the championship. And who knows what would happen there. And he did that with basically a James Harden that just came in and was injured and overweight and, a half-legged Kyrie Irving. So if he could do that with the Jason Tatum and this team, I think that they would be in a really good position. And I just think that if you could upgrade to Kevin Durant, I think you do it. And one last little point that I'll make is, I know a lot of people feel like, well, Kevin Durant, he was a non-factor in the series against the Celtics. So why would you trade for a guy like that? Because the Celtics did one thing, and that was let everybody else beat us and shut down Kevin Durant. And that's what they did. If you go watch the series, even the commentators made a point to mention it, that everybody on the Nets had wide open threes constantly. They let these guys shoot. And they said, I need you guys to beat us. And we're just going to stop Kevin Durant. Every time Kevin Durant was in a position to get the ball or had the ball, he had two guys in his chest, making him have to either take a bad shot or give the ball up. They literally boxed him in the entire series and said, let everyone else beat you. And Kyrie was getting his 30 a game and all that stuff. But guess what? It wasn't enough to beat him because they knew Kevin Durant was the heart and soul. If Kevin Durant, even if he just gets, 25 a game, that's going to be enough to boost everybody else up, and everyone else is going to feel good about themselves, and they're going to show up. We need to stop Kevin Durant because if we can keep Kevin Durant to being modest and being pedestrian, then everyone else is going to feel like, oh no, now I have to step up, and they're going to collapse. And that's exactly what happened. So no, it's a very different situation, especially when you got a team like the Celtics, and the Celtics have always been good at figuring out guys, right? I mean, they figured out the Giannis situation several years ago, all of that stuff. But anyway, those are my thoughts and opinions. And as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think at this point, yes, the Boston Celtics, you spurned Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's not happy. He's not going to be happy. You basically destroyed any hope of that working out. You need to make the deal. Or do you think, no, Jaylen Brown, he's a professional. You need to make it work. You need to figure it out. The problem is you could end up losing Jaylen Brown for nothing. And you might never get an opportunity to trade for a guy like Kevin Durant. Because Jaylen Brown, yeah, he might show face. He might play the good guy for the next, 2 seasons. But then he might be out. He might just say, hey, I'm done. I'm out of here. Like, I don't want to re-sign. I'm not doing anything. Yeah, you should have traded me when you had the trade, all of that stuff. It's just things to take into account. But again, love to hear your thoughts, opinions, however you feel about it. Let me know down in the comment section below. One last little shameless plug is I did start As It Stands Lakers. It is a channel just like this, dedicated to only the Lakers, because the Lakers are my favorite team. And on this channel, As It Stands, I talk about all teams, all sports, stuff like that. We have football season coming up, so I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. And I just wanted to make a dedicated channel to the Lakers to give the ins and outs. Now, all the big stuff, all the big news and stuff, I will still post here on this channel. But if you want all the ins and outs and just rumors and theories and just discussions just strictly on the Lakers, link down in the description or in the comment section. Go check out the channel, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.